Shalom, shalom, shalom. All praises, honor, glory, blessings, and power be unto Abanawa Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakaha Kwarash. Okay. Kal halalimna Abanawa Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakaha Kwarash. Yahweh is the Most High's name. Yahweh Shai is his son's name. Okay. Bahasham means in the name. Acts 4 and 12, there's only one name under heaven that we must be saved. Okay? I'm paraphrasing the scripture, and the elect will call upon, the name. They'll call upon the name of the Lord. All right? The elect will praise the Lord's name. The elect will have the name. The elect will not be calling on Jebus or, Iso Christo or whatever, right? They won't be calling on no crazy name. They'll be calling on that one true name of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. And you have to be an Israelite by blood, all right? Okay, you don't have to look like Eddie Murphy or George Lopez to be an Israelite, but that is the dominant look, and that is, different shades of brown. Most blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians from their paternal lineage are Israelites. Okay, and yes, there are Israelites that look so-called white or Chinese or East Indian because their forefathers are Israelites, so-called black, Hispanic, and Native Indian. They'd be today. All right, just like listen, Jake men like to deal with women of other nations. All right, so this is not a color thing. All right, just want to add that there. So those of you crazy people out there that are trying to emphasize on color, it's not a color thing. All right, the men of the Lord, men of Great Millstone, are different shades of brown. And yes, you have teachers, frontline teachers, that look what the world would say so-called white, or as Paul Mooney would say, they have the complexion for the protection. But anyway, okay, and double honors to the apostles, elders, elder bishops, prophets. Salaki, I mean, double honors to the apostles, elders, elder bishops of Great Millstone that rule well. Double honors to them, and shalom to the prophets, and a hearty shalom to the prophets of that body. All right, they are the men of the Lord. Okay, and any affiliate camps, example, Saint to Jersey, that may not have the name of GMS, but they are GMS in the spirit. And what does it mean when it comes to this U.S. government shutdown? Well, basically, it's like saying chucking a spanner in the works, and it's done by design to squeeze the hell out of this kingdom which is falling anyway. It's circling the drain. It's the way you see that water spin round and round and round and round, and it goes right down the drain. Kingdom is going literally down the drain. All right. And obviously people work for what? Quoting rapper Big Pun from many years ago. What he said was, we work for the cheddar. We're not rappers, we work for the cheddar. He said, we do this for the cheddar. We're not rappers. I'm not a rapper, he said. So lucky I had to add that in there, but it's just a funny spin to me, a funny thing to me in my mind when you hear Big Pun speak. But nevertheless, he said, yeah, we work for the cheddar. People work for money. People work for their daily bread. People don't work for free pizza on a Friday night because your company orders in pizza, or free beers after work. All right, you can buy your own damn beer, your own pizza, your own free croissant on a Thursday morning, however your work environment does it. People work for the money to pay their bills. People ain't gonna come into into their work environment for free, So they're gonna spend fuel, buy lunch, all these kinds of expenses. They're gonna pay all these extra expenses, so everything's going out, but nothing's coming in. Okay, so it's definitely gonna affect everything. All right, we've seen delays on a whole bunch of, on the infrastructure already. All right, with cyber attacks, financial infrastructure is being attacked, what they call cybercrime. Okay. People being burnt out, they need extra time off. People are off, on sick more because of whatever issues they have in their life. People are taking on extra jobs so they can't give all, because they're not earning enough money because of inflation. So they can't give 100% to their core main job that they have, right? You go down there, lawyers and doctors doing Uber, all right? So how can they concentrate on a patient? Example, right? So it's gonna affect TSA employees, people that do security at the airport, you know, uh, right? You're trying to find pilots at the airport. There's a lack of pilots, you know, because I'm assuming there's like it's a snowball effect with a government shutdown. It affects every part of the infrastructure, you know, whether you're getting paid at all, whether you're getting the right kind of money, whether there's you're just working, but and there's overtime there, but you're not getting paid overtime. It could be anything. It's a whole bunch of different things. Flights are being delayed, right? And therefore, what's going to affect other countries? Tourism, money coming, and their GDP in each country as well, because there's a lack of tourism. Places are shutting down, stores are shutting down, restaurants are shutting down. It's a snowball effect. People don't have disposable income. If they don't have disposable income, they can't spend. If they can't spend, what happens? Your restaurants, your stores, your clothing stores, they're shutting down. AI is taking over, right? Lack of call center work, what they call telesales or customer services, those jobs are shutting down. We've already seen a bunch of organizations in Texas and the UK shut down as well, right? A whole bunch of banks in my high street, my local high street, less than a mile away have shut down. All the major ones, Santander, Halifax, Barclays. I can name like 4 or 5 banks just in the space of what? Uh, probably a couple of 100 yards of a high street that have shut down. All the major conglomerates and organizations, your name brands have shut down. Woolworths shut down many, many, many years ago. All right. So this is going to keep spiraling and keep going and keep going and keep going. All right. US government shutdown. What does it mean and who will it impact? All right. Let's go here.
I just heard something that Trump said. Here's what he said. We can do things during the shutdown that are irreversible and bad for them, and irreversible like cutting vast numbers of people out. Well, there it is. Trump admitted himself that he is using Americans as political pawns. He is admitting that he is doing the firing of people if, God forbid, it happens. He's using Americans as...
It's obviously happened. So this news segment is from when? Wednesday, 1st of October. It's like a fortnight old, under 2 weeks. It's happened. It's all done by design. And now you people know what time it is with Trump, right? A lot of you crackers that are still okay financially still want Trump there. Yeah, he's getting rid of all the N words and all the, all the N words and all these, wetbacks and whatever however you want to say it, right? Okay. As long as the pressure's on the people of color, you crackers are going to sign off on your freedom. But some of you Edomites are waking up, you so-called white people, and you heathens. You're waking up now as well, saying, they came for the Hispanics, they came for black people. Now they're going to come for us. And you so-called white people know they're going to come for you. Just because you're so-called white, you have a lack of melanin. You got that swine skin complexion. It doesn't mean they're not going to come for you, because a lot of you, they know, the government knows a lot of you good old boys like to pack heat, and you crackers like to saying it. Yeah, you ain't seen the white man chimp out yet. You haven't seen the white man chimp out. And it's funny that they use the word chimp, because you damn crackers look like monkeys. Hey, let's go to the video.
Pawns, as I said. Democrats do not want a shutdown. We stand ready to work with Republicans to find a bipartisan compromise, and the ball's in their court. When he says he will do things, he is taking ownership. He is taking ownership. It's just like in his first term when he said he will own the shutdown.
Why is it necessary to link more federal jobs cut to a shutdown?
Well, the Democrats want to shut it down. So when you shut it down, you have to do layoffs. So we'd be laying off a lot of people that are going to be very affected. And the Democrats, they're going to be Democrats. As you know, this country, no country can afford to pay for illegal immigration, health care for everybody that comes into the country. And that's what they're insisting. And obviously, I have an obligation to not accept that. That would affect everybody. When I see what we're doing with AI and all the plants that are opening up in the country, $17 trillion is coming. And if you compare that to Biden, Biden had in 4 years less than $1 trillion. We have 17 trillion, more than that. I think it's going to be much more than that, David, by the end of this year. I think it's going to be far over that. It's a record. It's already a record in 8 months. It's a record by a lot. And so we're doing well as a country. So the last thing we want to do is shut it down. But a lot of good can come down from shutdowns. We can get rid of a lot of things that we didn't want. And
The only good that they're trying to bring is their new world order. Okay.
It'd be Democrat things, but they want open.
Which is good for them, of course. All right. And good for the elect. All right. Because this means that, the boxes are being ticked off, which means we're closer to going home.
Open borders. They want men playing in women's sports. They want transgender for everybody. They never stop. They don't learn. We won an election in a landslide. They just don't learn. So we have no choice. I have to do that for the country.
This is a huge deal. As of midnight Washington DC time, the US government is in shutdown for the first time in more than 6 years. And that's because this Senate is deadlocked on two competing funding bills, one proposed by the Republicans and one proposed by Democrats. But this is not just about politicians. This will have a very big impact. This shutdown will have a real world impact on ordinary people. National parks, for example, the likes of the Grand Canyon and Yosemite, they will go unstaffed. Some may be forced to close down. Well,
okay, if these national parks are unstaffed, right, and I'm sure there's some kind of wildlife there, that could people, having a trek through a national park or whatever, something. I'm sure it's not animal free zone. Okay, I'm not too sure about every national park in the States. Okay, I'm sure they've got people that are, within, that keep a watch over you. There's cameras maybe there. I don't know how the infrastructure is there, but I'm sure they've got park keepers and people that walk, that are armed, just to sort of or have those guns with sleeping darts to get any kinds of animals, I guess, like what they call mountain cats or mountain lions or whatever, right? And which means a lot of people's lives are going to be at danger. Not to mention people not earning their money, right? Not to mention people that are pissed off. So it's a volatile situation, a volatile cocktail of no money, economy shutting down, okay, and all these people that have jobs when it comes to safety, when it comes to TSA or security or X-raying baggage. Sometimes, if they're X-raying baggage, people are jumping on a plane or whatever, and they're trying to move because of the people that are delayed at the airports right now as we speak, that are waiting for pilots and people that do particular services or jobs or whatever. They'll probably just bypass certain people with a whole bunch of contraband in their suitcases or luggage or hand luggage or whatever. I don't know. That could happen too, where they've got to quickly get, the X-raying people quickly and just saying, oh, just get all those people, those 300 people on that plane, so we can clear these airports and all that kind of thing. So when it comes to things not being done properly, what happens when things are not being done properly? They are being done in a sloppy manner. They're not being done in a decently orderly manner, right? They're not being done that way, which means when things are not being done decently and in order, what happens? Chaos, right? So you don't know, anything can go down, all right? And along with that, you just don't know what it's just a volatile cocktail, So you're going to have people being X-rayed and people being monitored, not even properly, when it comes to security. Like they might X-ray the baggage or not check certain things properly. You don't know who's bringing what, right? What kind of criminals are actually jumping on those planes? Okay, going back and forth. There's that aspect. Then you've got people that are not working. They're pissed off. because the grinding is ceasing, you know.
While this shutdown continues, things like the National Mall, that iconic stretch of land between the Capitol building where these very politicians work and the Lincoln Memorial, that will be chained up. Donald Trump has said that there will be mass layoffs of federal workers. He says that will include Democrats. President Trump, as you may imagine, is trying to spin this to his political advantage. He says that Democrats are holding out because they're trying to pursue free healthcare, in his words, for illegal aliens. That is a false claim. While Democrats are pursuing more affordable healthcare for Americans, that would not extend to undocumented immigrants. On the other hand,
and what's that supposed to say as well? Like, what's Trump trying to do? Like, trying to stop all the the workers that are related to healthcare, right? So they don't take care of so-called illegal immigrants. So basically, this is going to basically, because you got a lot of retarded people in America, around the world, and especially the so-called white man. They're just retarded, full stop, right? Okay, so their anger and their violence is more towards so-called illegal immigrants. So basically, anybody that has a brown complexion, a natural tan, or browner skin, right? Especially the black, Hispanic, and Native Indian, that anger is going to be, it's like you got a fire, right? And then you chuck petrol on it, right? It's fuel to the fire. It's ultimately going to piss a lot of people off. A lot of people that have the elderly, people that have got cancer, the people that are in wheelchairs, the people that have got mental issues, they need to stay calm. People with ADHD, all these diseases, so-called white men created in labs, and they give people the juice when they were born, inoculated or whatever, and now they're like retired today, right? All your Rain Man types and all that. They need their medication, so they, people with Tourette's and all that, So there's gonna be a whole bunch of people that are gonna go crazy, and they're gonna say, "Oh yeah, because of you N words, because of you so and so people, I'm not getting my medication. My mother's not getting her medication. My father's not getting my wife." Well, it's another, another more fuel to the fire for people to get pissed off, And the so-called white man, when they get pissed off, what happens? Because they haven't really gone through a lot of tribulation in the last 400 or 500 years. It's been their world, right? It's been their world. Okay, just 1,000 years ago, these crackers were on all fours in the caves. Now they're ruling today, but for the last couple hundred years, 400 or 500 years, they've been living lovely, right? They've had everything given to them. They've taken. They've not really worked. They haven't really gone through any stresses. I mean, that's why these devils like horror movies so much, because they don't have that stress. So for that adrenaline feel, they like to watch horror movies and shit. That's their thing. They got a demonic nature anyway. So what happens when these crackers, when they don't get their way? They chimp out, and that's what's literally going to happen.
Republicans are saying that Democrats are being hypocrites. They're saying that Democrats want a public showdown with this.
All right, we got like the gist of that, right? Proverbs 29:2. When the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice, but when the wicked beareth rule, the people mourn. We've seen numerous videos made by our prophets. We've seen it ourselves online. People mourning about, oh, I can't pay for this, I can't pay for that. I've got 2-3 jobs, or my husband and I work 60 hours each a week. That's what some women are saying. Some women are saying, Edomite women, right? And we can't afford to live, They can't afford to buy meat. They're eating noodles and shit. They're eating like the kind of food that college students eat. A lot of Edomite women, so-called white women, right, are giving their children cereal. They're not giving them eggs or toast in the morning, or warm breakfast during winter or whatever. They're eating cereal 3 times a day. It's getting to that point where they're just living on cereal, Cocoa Puffs or whatever, Cocoa Pops, cornflakes. That's what it's getting real out here, man. America's not that land of opportunity, like you used to think about when you're a child. You see Pamela Anderson running across the sand and shit. California, all gorgeous and beautiful. That place looks like fucking hell now. All right? Yeah, there's still beautiful parts of America. All right? But it's being overrun. Okay? And it's gonna be overtaken soon and then blown off the map. To everything there is this Ecclesiastes 3 verse 1. To everything there is a season and a time to every purpose under the heaven. A time to be born, verse 2. A time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to pluck up that which is planted. All right? The Lord is plucking up, that which is planted. Esau said he's going to build. What did the Lord say? He's going to throw down. And the Lord, Yahweh Shemashai, is throwing it down, right? We can see it in real time. Okay? We can see it in real time. You used to hear about these things in the 90s, the NWO, Illuminati, and, the powers that be, it was there. And, the talk was there. It wasn't foolproof yet, But now, you got people out there that still don't believe in chariots and they don't believe in the powers that be. There's people out there that actually believe that Osama bin Laden hit the Twin Towers. There were actual Arabs flying those fucking planes. People are that retarded to this day. So people have no clue. When things go down, they're going to get overrun. Only the elect are going to be okay because they know what time it is. They have the spiritual, let's just say, like you build anything or, well, put it this way, the elect have the spiritual navigation, okay? Yes, it's going to affect the elect too, in terms of because the elect are in the weak flesh, the chains of darkness. So it's going to affect their, the flesh, but the spirit is going to be in a confident manner. The spirit's going to be confident because, we believe in Yahweh Shemashai getting us through things because the Lord gets us through on a daily anyway. These small things that we have to come across, how much more those larger things, all right? So we've got that spiritual, we've got that spiritual navigation because Yahweh Shemashai, is letting us know via the prophets, all right, elders and prophets, okay. 1 Peter 4:7. But the end of all things is at hand. Be ye therefore sober and watch unto prayer. All right. So we pray, we watch our elders, we watch our elders, and we do a little research ourselves as well. A little or a lot of research, right? A list of agencies affected by 2018 to 2019 federal government shutdown. All right, the Coast Guard was affected at that time. United States Census Bureau, TSA employees, Customs and Border Protection agents. All right, death in National Park Service. All right, there was that lady mentioning the national park, and that's happening now. And this is from 2018 to 2019. The same thing happened then. All right, Federal Bureau of Prisons. Obviously, if federal workers are not being paid and the prisons are affected as well, which means there's not the same thing's going to happen now. If a government shutdown happened before, many years ago, and it was affected like that, how much more now as we're approaching the end, right? We're approaching the 250th year as well, all right, regarding America. And, on average, a kingdom usually lasts 250 years, a heathenistic kingdom, right? Regarding history, timelines, what we've seen so far, right? 1776 to now, right? 250 odd years, right? Okay. Lack of prison officers, prisons, prisoners breaking out, right? Crazy MFers breaking out, right? Other agencies were affected by the shutdown as follows: Transportation Security, Federal Aviation, right? Federal Bureau of Investigation, National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, National Park Service, Drug Enforcement. All right, back then, 2018, 2019, almost 5,000 Drug Enforcement Administration agents working without pay. So people are not going to really be motivated to work. They're just going to be sitting in their cars and saying, or they're going to call in sick. United States Forest Service, approximately 28,000 or 29,000 staff were furloughed. Okay, which means lack of health and safety, lack of first aid people, lack of people looking out for the children at these national parks or animals and people in general, which means people can get hurt, right? It's going to be a very, a lot of these places where, you got people looking, that man security cameras for people's safety, crime will increase, you know? But I'm sure there's still a human element when it comes to security cameras and CCTV cameras to a certain degree, you know? So there's going to be a lot of things that will slip through the gap, okay? All right, where the infrastructure will fail in terms of health and safety, the economy, lack of money coming in and going out, which means, you know, that the machine isn't doing what it's supposed to do. That machine is, you know, as I say, got a rusty cog, you know, which needs oiling, and that oil is finances, and the finances ain't coming in, right? I mean, obviously, this is from how it's affected. Says here, list of agencies affected by the 2018 to 2019 United States federal government shutdown. Right, that was then. So how much more now, as we're approaching the end, which means it's going to be worse. All right, we got the gist of the idea. I think I don't need to go here. This is by J.P. Morgan. You know how J.P. Morgan is, right? All owned by the little hats. Okay, we watched that, didn't we? Okay, let's watch this one. This is a short video. This is how the government shutdown will affect healthcare. All right. Let's go to the scripture. Let's go to 2nd Ezra's. 2nd Ezra's 15:14, King James Version. Let's go at the bottom here. 2nd Ezra's 15:14. Woe to the world and them that dwell therein. Verse 15. For the sword and the destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. Verse 16. For there shall be sedition among men. Now, with a lot of people with time on their hands that are not working, what do you think they're doing? All the security workers, all the TSA workers, all the government workers, you know, that are tight or that are close, right? Or any kind of organizations that have unions, you know. I don't know too much about that, but they have, you know, because everybody has like a little clique at work, right? They're probably all clicked up, you know, talking, commiserating, you know, talking about who is this is the problem, that's the problem, you know, people that go to the shooting range together, you know, these racist Edomites that are part of certain groups, you know, whether in the police, FBI, whatever, they're part of the KKK or the other kinds of racist Edomite groups, right? They're coming together. This politician or this head of state is a problem. You know, it's not just happening in the UK, it's happening in America, of course, everywhere, right? But especially Ground Zero America, okay? And they're going to come together, okay? So there's sedition among men. For there shall be sedition among men and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes. They don't give a shit about Trump, Keir Starmer, their heads of state, whatever. They don't care, all right? They don't care. The only thing that's going to happen is going to be a fight between the haves and the have-nots. Okay? For there shall be sedition among men and invading one another, and they shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. Verse 17, a man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. The martial law is coming. Those checkpoints are coming. All right? It's all coming. Haggai 1 and 6. You know, people can't afford to live no more. They're putting money into a bag like they're putting money into a bag with holes. You know? Not this video. Where's that video I had lined up?
On day 7 of this government shutdown tonight, we're looking into one of the key disagreements.
Now this is day 7, 8th of October, right? How much more today? 13th of October, Monday morning.
In our nation's capital that could ultimately affect some 23 million Americans.
Yeah, lawmakers are divided on whether or not to renew.
23 million people it's going to affect. 23, and out of those 23 million people it's affecting, right? How many of them motherfuckers are crazy gun-toting Edomites and heathens? And crazy Jakes too.
their expiring government subsidies on health insurance. Now, Bab Santos is here now and hearing from political experts after taking a look at some of the new polling on this issue, right, Babs?
Yeah, we're talking about subsidies for people who don't get insurance from their job or government program and instead buy it in marketplaces. Interestingly enough, although Republican lawmakers would like to see the subsidies go, there are actually large numbers of people benefiting from them in Republican leaning states. The subsidies were a core provision of Obamacare, later strengthened by President Biden, but without congressional action, they expire this year. Right now, the Congressional Budget Office estimates at that point around 2 million more Americans would become uninsured by just next year. So clearly, it's a situation that could impact many. Today, Hamlin University professor David Schultz shared some insights on where things stand.
It could drag out for a long period of time. We know the last government shutdown was 35 days. At this point, I don't see any forces bringing the two sides together. There seems to be very minimal negotiation. The Democrats and Republicans have staked out their position on a very, very important issue for them. And unless something dramatically changes, I don't see this getting resolved very quickly.
And as for polling on this issue, just this week, about 3/4 of adults surveyed by Kaiser Family Foundation researchers said Congress should extend the enhanced tax credits, including 9 in 10 Democrats, 8 in 10 independents, and 6 in 10 Republicans. Back to you.
It's good. This one.
Meantime, Kins 5's Jeremy Baker reports tonight, depending on which side gets their way.
Government shutdown could impact health insurance premiums. People don't have enough money as it is anyway. Now insurance premiums are going to go through the roof. All right. So no money, inflation, government shutdown. All right. So whether you work for the government or not, and it's affecting your job, things are expensive anyway. But if you work for the government and you've not got no money coming in, and your premiums go up, and everything's expensive as it is, what do you think people are going to do? All right. Every action has a reaction, and the reaction they're trying to get is not going to be good for the people that want this world to go on. But it's good for the elect because we want this MFA to fall quick time. All right? Let's go.
Your health insurance premiums could skyrocket in less than 3 months. In 2021, the American...
This is from last Friday, this news, 10th of October, right? So this is, just prior to the weekend.
Rescue Plan Act increased the amount and availability of Affordable Care Act premium tax credits. Those credits were extended in 2022, but are set to expire at the end of this year.
This was allowing individuals and families to have the peace of mind that if something would happen to them, they have health insurance.
The Kaiser Family Foundation found that if subsidies expire at the end of this year, premiums will more than double for subsidized marketplace enrollees, taking the average annual payment from $888 this year to $1,904 in 2026. A family of 4 would see their payments jump from almost $2,500 to a whopping $5,800.
That's damn near more than double there. Look at that. You know? From $24.98 to $5,865. Family of 4. And young children eat a lot as well, you know. Metabolisms, they're growing. Food is expensive. Dad might be out of work. Mom might be out of work. So the crime is going to increase. All right. And a man will do anything to feed his children. Hence the charagma. That's going to come into effect too. Aren't they talking about everything going digital? Don't they have these damn devils have a specific timeline? Revelation 12 verse 12. Time is short. Okay? Let's just read that, man. Revelation 12 verse 12, King James Version. Revelation 12 verse 12. Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea. Woe means evil times. Okay? For the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea. For the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time. So they're going to get busy. As you can see, these are the fundamental things that they're doing to put a, to basically to shut the door on his kingdom. All right, so they can open up their so-called new world order, how the elites want the world to be. Okay, in that dystopian environment where they can control you. This is what they're trying to push. All right. And you've got a lot of stupid people out there that believe every single thing that newscasters spew, right? There's a lot of people that don't have common sense, and sense isn't too very common, especially nowadays.
$65.
Folks have to make a choice whether it's going to be to put
2008 would see their payments jump from almost $2,500 to a whopping $5,865.
Folks have to make a choice whether it's going to be to put food on the table, perhaps in some extreme cases, or to go see the doctor.
Some tips for shopping for health insurance: look for the best policy to meet your needs and budget. Know your needs and match them to your options as best as possible. Save money by knowing how to use the plan you're thinking about choosing, and understand how health insurance works overall. But a big concern in the healthcare community is what happens if many choose to forego insurance completely.
They may just choose not to go to see their providers as frequently because it becomes more expensive.
They're going to be utilizing safety net hospitals like you.
If you've seen that movie, The Drugstore Cowboy, with Matt Dillon many, many years ago, it's just a movie, right? It's a bunch of junkies that start robbing what they call pharmacies, drugstores, or what you call chemists here in the UK. Now, people are going to start probably hitting up people's homes, doctors' homes, hospitals, surgeries, private surgeries, dental surgeries. For what? Medication, painkillers. All right? Something, people that are on opiates, that need their fix, that's going to increase too. People are going to start, you're going to see people going bugging out in the street. Okay, if you've seen a heroin addict on the street, right, shaking and shivering and shit, and they'll do anything to get their heroin fix so their body's at ease, so they don't get the cold sweats no more, right? So they don't get the shits, because they get the runs too, junkies do, right? They will do anything and everything to get their fix. They'll break into houses, break into stores, they'll walk past vehicles, which I've seen myself happen on my road. They'll walk past houses that have cars parked up in the driveway to try and open up the boot to see if somebody accidentally left their car door open, to see what, so they can take whatever they can out of it, be it pushchairs, some shopping that you've left in the car boot, be it bottles of liquor, so crackheads and junkies can sell. It's a spiraling effect. That's how it happens in every aspect, every type of job. You take away something, that energy is going to go into somewhere negative. So obviously, it's not going to be good for society in general, and definitely not American society. All right.
University Hospital, or even the other hospitals in town, when an emergency happens, and that will lead to a higher increase of uninsured patients.
Marketplace open enrollment begins on November 1st. If you're in need of a plan and need help finding one, we have links to the market.
All right. Well, good luck finding one. Well, not good luck. You devils, But the elect are going to be covered, man, with or without insurance policies. That's why a lot of our elders, they give you game through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shemeshai, what's good for your body, what's not. The right way to eat, exercising. The scriptures say bodily exercise profiteth little, right? Because it's mainly the spirit that you should be focused on and praying to Yahweh Shemeshai. But bodily exercise does profit. It does profit. And definitely even more now, especially because we don't know, because we're eating our bread defiled. That's where prayer is important, to bless your food and drink, man, so the Lord can put those angels around you, keep it protected as well. So self-diagnose, and a lot of people are going to be self-medicating, self-diagnosing. Someone, hey man, it's gonna lead to a spiraling effect of crime, man, and violence. All right. Let's see if there's anything else that I can play. Government shut down affordable healthcare subsidies. That's 3 days ago. What else we got?
Well, it is the first full day of the government shutdown, and there is no end in sight.
It comes after lawmakers failed to pass a spending bill yesterday, and again, Democrats voting down today a Republican bill to temporarily fund the government. Here are the details. At the center of the dispute are 4 issues. The biggest is health care. Democrats want to protect Affordable Care Act subsidies, while Republicans say that doesn't belong in a short-term bill. Republicans are pushing to keep funding as is, while Democrats want to tie it to policy priorities. They also clash over whether the president can cut funding Congress has already approved. With 60 votes needed in the Senate, a few moderates could ultimately decide when the government reopens. Now, more than 24 hours since the shutdown started, the blame game continues.
Democrats want to play political games with the lives and the livelihoods of Americans.
Republicans have adopted a my way or the highway approach.
The last government shutdown was during President Trump's first term at the end of 2028, going into 2019. Now, it was the longest in more than 4 decades, lasting for 35 days. Lawmakers are set to try to meet on Friday to try again. Now, we know a lot of you have a lot of questions about which programs will continue to operate.
Yeah, so we want to give you a quick breakdown of what we know so far. Social Security checks will continue to go out, but keep in mind new applications could be delayed with furloughs. People with student loans will still need to make payments, and aid will keep flowing. Food benefits like SNAP and WIC also continue for now, but they're only funded until about the end of the month. The U.S. Postal Service will also continue to operate. Medicare is not impacted. Federal, state, and local courts will stay open as well, but the Department of Justice may postpone some cases. Meanwhile, the shutdown is bringing uncertainty to the CalFresh program.
That's right. River City Food Bank says reductions to CalFresh benefits can mean more people relying on food banks. It comes as nearly $188 million in federal funding for CalFresh nutrition education ended today as part of the One Big Beautiful Bill signed into law over the summer. CalFresh says the shutdown adds new uncertainty for the program.
There will be no effect on their CalFresh benefits this month. Beyond that, we really don't know. We're waiting to see how this shutdown, goes out, and if it goes into November.
CalFresh also warns people of new federal rules that tighten work requirements for recipients. Those rules.
They mentioned something that SNAP benefits are stopping at the end of the month, so that's the end of October, right? Or cutting down. So it's going to affect people even more, right? People that don't have no money or have lack of it, right? And have you noticed who they're showing? They're getting all the food and that. They're showing women with burqas and stuff, looking like Muslims or so-called ethnic minorities. That's going to piss off the so-called white man even more as well.
Rules are expected to start in February. Also today, Congressman Kevin Kiley responded to protesters outside his Placer County office.
Yeah, they say they're urging accountability for the government shutdown. Take a listen.
All right. Let's go one more scripture, then we'll just leave it there. Grinding ceaseth, King James Version. Oh, that's not the one. I said grinding ceaseth, it says CSF. Ecclesiastes 12:3. And we'll read verse 4 as well. In the day when the keepers of the house shall tremble, and the strong men shall bow themselves, and the grinders cease, because they are few, and those that look out of the windows be darkened. Lack of jobs, lack of production, lack of people. Even you very rarely even see an Edomite whistling anymore. Because I remember back in the day, you would see Edomites whistling all the time as they walk down the street. Whatever the tune they're whistling, and all happy and shit. You don't see that no more. Okay, because our optimism is out the window. Everything feels bleak and darkened. People are saying they're going to cancel Christmas. Christmas been cancelled, but people still on that sort of, thinking, hoping that the New Year's resolution or the New Year will be better, or let's forget about the whole year, put it behind us. We've got 2 weeks off work and that. Let's just all cuddle up and bundle up at home and hibernate and just watch Home Alone 100 million times, and hopefully we'll be living like Kevin McAllister, in a big house and everything hunky dory and shit. That ain't gonna happen. That ain't gonna happen. Optimism is out the window. All right. Verse 4, and the doors shall be shut in the streets. And that's literal, banks, stores, all shutting, all dressed up and nowhere to go. And that's real, because you've got these weirdos, especially Gen Z, that sit at home all the time gaming, and they wear their pajamas wherever the fuck they go, man. That's just so annoying to see. Grown men with Crocs and pajamas on in the middle of the day. Crocs is a women's thing anyway, but Crocs is housewear or foot shoe, or what you call house shoes. If you're gonna wear them shits, wear them in the house like you would wear sliders or sandals or whatever. Or your house shoes. Keep them in the house. Verse 4, and the doors shall be shut in the streets when the sound of the grinding is low, no work, and he shall rise up at the voice of the bird, and the daughters of music shall be brought low. No music as well to, no music for you people out there. So you don't have a soundtrack in your mind for your day, you know? You're not going to hear that song, It's a Beautiful Morning. It's none of that anymore. That's out the window. Everything's bleak for you devils. All right? Any people out there that are invested in this world. No more of that. No soundtrack for your happiness. No soundtrack for you when you meet a woman. If you men that meet a woman, no soundtrack. The radio's turned off these days. But music is trash these days. There's no music anymore. All right? The state of entertainment and music should let you know we are at the end. All right? Okay? This is the perfect example. All right, which is good, because Brakti Yahweh Bashim Yashai. All things are coming to an end, man. Actually, one more scripture's coming to mind. Let's go there. Better is the end of a thing. Better is the end of a thing, King James Version. Right? Ecclesiastes 7, verse 8. Better is the end of a thing than the beginning thereof, and the patient in spirit is better than the proud in spirit. Okay? So we're glad this thing is ending, man. Brakti Yahweh Bashim Yashai. As Elder Kazaki Allah would say, the world will be stressed out, but we'll be lifting up a toast to Yahweh Bashim Yashai, saying La Yasharala, man, praising Yahweh Bashim Yashai, man. Elder said he don't drink, but that's cool, but me, I have a little drink now and again, so I'm definitely gonna hold up some wine or maybe some tequila or some other hard liquor, or maybe even a beer, right? Cold beer, to praise Yahweh Bashim Yashai when these things go down even further, man. Because we want to go home and we can see, hey man, we can see the kingdom, man. We can feel it, we can feel it, we can feel it. All right. So I think I'm gonna leave it there now. Okay. So ultimately, the government shutdown is just another gut shot, right, to this kingdom to destroy even more. All right, because this time it's affecting what you call the necessities of your average person, as well as your non-average person, if you want to put it that way. Health is wealth, right? So when people don't have their health and people are suffering, people that are somewhat able-bodied will do crazier things to make sure that they're good and their family are good. As long, as well as the government shutdown affecting the economy as well in every shape or form. We touched on that a couple of times. So, and people are not going to work for free, and this could lead to a lot of government workers, especially racist Edomites and some two-third Jakes, that will join these militias and these groups like ICE agents, because they're paying so the money is great for them, because that'll fund them and their families, and their lifestyles, and cover all the expenses. So this is going to lead to a more crime-filled world, the destruction and deterioration of society, morals going out the window, and ultimately to the demise of this world, which is a good thing. All praises to Yahweh Bashim Hashai Bashim Rakakadash. Let's hope Trump keeps this government locked down even more. I hope the same shit happens in the UK, which is happening to a certain degree anyway. But anyway, I'm going to leave it there. All praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yashai, Ba'ashem Rakak Wadash, Mawatha Bat Babak, Kwam Yashralah.